Alright, so I let the Farmall cool down, and I wanted to get to the bottom of this coolant leak mystery from the manifold, and I've done it. The problem is this: these two studs right here, they weren't seated properly, and they were leaking, slowly leaking antifreeze. Now you look at the other studs, they didn't come off. They're obviously seated properly, and when I pulled these off, by the way, when I pulled these studs off, coolant came pouring out, got on my floor, and it filled up that cooler. So anyway, Dabernathy seemed to think there was a crack in the head, and I really wasn't too concerned about that. Even though I didn't assemble this motor, I was very involved in its assembly process, and I know how it was checked for cracks and how meticulously it was done. Obviously, with the exception of those two studs. But I knew that wasn't the case, and he seemed to think that coolant doesn't get up in these heads, and well, it does. There is a water jacket up there at the top, where this manifold is. There's a water jacket at the end of it. Now, I don't know if it came from the factory like this, to where the studs backed up to the water jacket, or if someone drilled it, but I want to say yes, that the studs have always backed up to the water jacket, and I want to say that the Cubs are the exact same way. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and fix these. Farmall 51, I don't know what kind of sealant you use, and I know that you're working on a head on a 240, and you've got some, you're working on some stud bolts. I think you got one strip too. There's my strip stud bolt. But if you could tell me what kind of sealant to use, I really appreciate it. By the way, guys, I really appreciate all the advice and all the comments. It's been very helpful. And there was one guy, I think he's from Michigan. His YouTube handle is Mish and some numbers. I'm sorry I can't remember the numbers right offhand. But he told me where I could get these. He told me exactly where I could find them on eBay, and I bid on them and bought them and won, and that's exactly what I needed. Perfect fit. So I really appreciate that. So guys, I love the comments. I love these things. They really help me diagnose and get to the bottom of these problems. And there it is on that. So I just thought I'd pass that on. Another thing I wanted to pass on, this manifold was an eBay purchase. And it's a great manifold. I have no beef with it. The only thing is, you look at this gasket right here. That gasket, when it was assembled, that covered the better part of that intake port right there. The better part of half of the intake port. You see that? Now I know the wide open throttle for these Farmall, Super A's is, and I guess the 140s too, is only about 1400 RPM. Or I want to say it's exactly 1400 RPM. And maybe I'm overthinking this, and maybe this didn't cause a problem, but I would think that even at 1400 RPM, this would cause some friction loss and some turbulence just by covering that intake port that way. So maybe when I get another gasket, I might get an X-Acto knife and trim it down a little bit so that's a little bit cleaner and not as obstructed. Anyway, guys, just thought I'd pass that on. Thanks again for all the help. And Farmall 51, if you could tell me what kind of sealant to use, that'd be awesome. You guys are great. Thanks again.